No matter what we do, we're wrong. And we're guilty until we prove ourselves innocent. And guys like me should be the ones held accountable for inappropriate actions by the rank and file. And I make every single attempt to do that and be as transparent as I can. This system is broken. It's badly, badly broken.
There's a need, certainly a need for us to review and evaluate our training curriculum and what we do and why. And are we adjusting and adapting to time? Are we adjusting and adapting to societal shifts or changes? Are we using the best of technology today that we didn't have before? Are we using our intelligence, community relationships? All of those pieces and parts make us whole.
That lying bitch! Liar!
We are human beings, we're not machines. We're dealing with death, dying, destruction, hurt, pain, and sorrow every single day. Every single day. And we need the system to support what we're trying to accomplish. No matter what we do, we're wrong. Damn it, this is not okay. And I am sick. I am just so tired and so sick of it.
In the challenges that we face today is a solution in search of a problem. There's no doubt that money needs to be going to these communities that have no hope. I completely support that. That will create nothing but havoc and chaos in communities that maybe weren't before. So to think that we're going to leave a community, who are you going to call when you call 911? This number's been disconnected.
Why was it so...
Got him! Got him!
I don't think so. I think that's ridiculous.
So my last video pissed you off. Well, this one's really gonna piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this hat? Does this hat trigger you?
And all of the central Indiana agencies that already have stepped up and stepped out. As we move through this period of time, telling Noah's story is going to be really important. I mean, when is it going to stop? And none of us understand why.
You are a bald-faced liar.
From a really humble public servant, I say thanks to each of you for being here. And I cannot imagine what they're feeling. I don't think we can ever describe to you how important it is for you to still be with us. So thank you. Thank you.
This is a big deal to me. I've been involved in the agency in some form or another for over 55 years. So
that's amazing.
What a journey. I'd do it all over again. And selected me to become the 20th superintendent of the state police. I've never taken it for granted a day since then, and I never will.
Yep.
Every single day is an absolute pleasure and honor to be able to serve at this level.
You're fucking liars!
As an ISP agency, I believe we're looked at and held to a higher standard, and that's something that we've earned throughout the years, don't you think?
I think that's exactly right. And that higher standard is, if we have to ask ourselves if what we're about to do is wrong, it is.
Right.
100% of the time. If we have to wonder if it's wrong, it is. And the other piece of this puzzle that I've seen again since I was a little boy, in some places around Indiana, we really literally are the police.
Yes.
Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God!
Please, for the sake of everyone on the road, slow down. This is a tool for us. And it's a tool for our citizens, it's a tool for you. I was concerned that we would have a notion that if it's not recorded, it didn't happen. I was concerned that we would have...
I played in...
Eric is now stuck on the letter M.
Played in...
We want to completely put all the pieces together and tell you what we know, not what we think. My concern was what happens at 2 in the morning in the middle of nowhere. This technology has got to work because the community expects it to.
And that's okay. That's okay, because we can't be all things to all people. I think we're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there.
There was no way we were going to stop. We were going to go one more. One more.
How'd they feel about that?
Not real good. Through these portals,
past the best trained police officers in the world.
And that's all being reviewed as we speak. I'm sorry, I don't right now. I don't have an answer for that right now. Again, an encounter with an incredibly violent individual that said that he is not going back to prison. These IMPD officers and troopers and other agencies that are participating in this crime guns task force are putting themselves in grave danger. And they're going after the worst of the worst of the worst. And they're going to continue to do that. When is enough enough? At what point are we going to say, stop, shake up the Etch-a-Sketch, we've got to clear the slate. This isn't working. This level of accountability is not working. It's unconscionable. There has to be fear of the system. If not, we're going to lose a civilized society. I know it's a strong statement, but we are going to lose the safety and security of the way in which we live if this doesn't change. I was on my tractor at home. I still remember it. The DNA of this family is so kind.
So they must not be. All right. Uh-oh. We got the old finger wag from the...
This is the most horrific and unprecedented crisis of our careers.
Ever since day one, I told the district lieutenants and field command, I'm not ever going to tell you how to run your districts because I don't understand them.
Yeah,
they're all different. And
education. So all hands on deck from us, from the criminal investigation side, from the accident reconstruction side. We've got to keep serving those that care for us because we care for them. We've got to keep doing what we do. Colonel French and I will take a peek at every one of your uniforms, then I'll have a couple of words for you. This sure been dry cleaned yet?
Sir, no, sir. Try to take that up one more, okay? So, yes, sir.
Look good, thank you. Good. How have they been this? How have the uniforms been this year?
and understand that, again, we can't be all things to all people. We can't do things because we say we always have done them.
Right.
And then transition from generalist to specialist. And I say that with a bit of clarification, because we'll never abdicate the role of that trooper in the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what we have to do is identify what can we do that other agencies can't. What
right.
should we
Where
do?
Can we add?
And what can we do oftentimes are different.
Yeah.
Well, now it's not that way. We have a task.
It's work with
and then come back and do something that I hope that you will remember for the rest of your careers. It's a big deal. These ISPs are a really, really big deal. Well, I don't know what you all thought, but that was terrific. I think it's probably the best weather morning that we've had. I guarantee you we got as much out of it as you did today. I know it was anticipated. You knew it was coming. You just didn't know when. And again, this creates memories of a lifetime that I will certainly carry with me the rest of my days. And I hope that you will too. More symbolic than anything. I think everybody understands that. But a lot of what we do is symbolic in memory of those that aren't with us anymore. So this is a big deal, a big deal. A lot's happened internally within us as an agency. A lot's happened internally within you as an individual. And a lot's happened internally between you and your class. Has accomplished more disruption of the American way of life than any foreign enemy could have imagined. And does not come with a ready playbook for our governmental leaders or for any of us in the public safety profession. No matter the uniform you wear, we all have one thing in common. Your families, friends, neighbors, churches, and communities looking to you for guidance to lead them through these very, very difficult times. We must be the optimistic leaders that our citizens look to for the way forward.
You lying snake!
Please know that there is no way to overemphasize your importance. It is inevitable in times of uncertainty and chaotic circumstance that rumors, misrepresentations, and misinformation runs rampant. Whatever is said in the public space should not deter your resolve and commitment to the task at hand.
Who the hell are you?
Just a friend, but you can call me the Riddler.
All that will be forthcoming for sure. We'll be as transparent as we possibly can.
I'm sorry. I didn't really know what to expect when I stood on this trail just a little bit ago, over the course of the last 15 minutes, but very uncomfortable feeling. The new prosecutor, Nick McClelland, here in Carroll County. What I've seen over this course of the last years are memories and times and comments and things that will stand with me and live with me for the rest of my life. To the families. And I just wanted to say I am forever humbled. I don't know what you expected today, but I came to plead and implore you to keep this out front and center. I've said before, and I'm confident I'll say again, I hope that one day when we all meet Abby and Libby that they tell us you did well. That's my hope. We cannot allow evil to prevail. Our world is completely out of balance, and we cannot allow that to prevail. I'm not really sure what to say other than the sadness continues to follow us. This has become a pretty complex criminal investigation, so I can't answer a lot of questions about what actually occurred. And it's here we are. What generic questions might you have about? Not something I thought we would see, quite frankly. But here we are. The accountability for the Indiana State Trooper lies with me, and you and I have had that conversation before. And accountability and are holding them accountable for their actions.
Take accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. It must be a balanced equation.
I've realized, Richie, that this period of reflection has caused me to think this way, but I've realized I crammed the first 50 years of my life into the last 4. And that came to me in the swimming pool about 3 weeks ago. And I love this place. I love its people. I love what they do. And I just can't imagine stepping away.
I've said all along that we, as an agency, will be here as long as I'm breathing and as long as Governor Holcomb allows me to continue to stay in the position that I hold. This isn't about how many hours we spend. It's not about how much it costs. It's about every single asset that the ISP has we will give to this sheriff, this community, and to each and every one of you. Because I refuse to accept evil as a standard bearer in American society. Not here. In this beautiful place that represents the very best of humanity. And look what happened. That's why it's very personal to me. And I just hope that one day I can look into the eyes of a murderer and ask him why.
By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care?
Dr. Phil, right now, it'd be speculative of us to try and figure out how he got there or where he went after this occurred. But I certainly hope in my lifetime I can look him in the eyes and ask him that same question.
What we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is not working. It is not working. The very foundation of a civilized society is grounded upon a system of law, of personal accountability, and of consequences for those that choose otherwise. Is living under a rock. I know you have a bunch of questions for me, but please understand, if the question has to do with the investigative process, tactics associated with the investigation, what only the killer would know, that we know, I can't answer your question. I don't know. I don't know. How do you answer that question? I believe we're one piece of the puzzle away from figuring out who this individual is. Then the real work begins. Over 30,000 tips. It will be all hands on deck, I can assure you. We have a very strong relationship with the Indiana National Guard, with the Department of Homeland Security, both at the state level and the federal level, federal agencies. Many meetings have occurred with the IMPD, with our intelligence folks, and I think we're well positioned. It's kind of euphoric right now. I've got to kind of pinch myself to realize this is actually happening. Now DNA's done on things you can't even see. So it's totally changed, and we have to keep up with that curve, and we're able to do it with all of our disciplines here. The challenge for us as a peaceful people would be to investigate those incidents when they occur, and that's exactly what we're doing. Mixed smoke, mount my ears. It's unconscionable. It's unconscionable to say it, to infer it, or to think it. I wish people could know Mike Pence like I do. He has never, ever tried to influence me with a decision that I had to make within the state police as we protect the citizens of this state. Quite the contrary. He was in routine contact with me when bad things were happening to good people almost every single day, and I miss that. He would never, ever want me to do anything other than what was right. Mixed smoke, mount my ears. It's unconscionable. It's unconscionable. Even the notion that there would be even the perception of a cover-up in regards to an investigation involving 4 little girls is not only unsubstantiated, but, ladies and gentlemen, it strikes me at the very core of who I am and the agency that I represent.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
I didn't realize the magnitude of what we were about to do, and I think everyone was very proud of what they did and what they accomplished. Oh, what a cool day that was!
Yeah.
But even with difficult financial times, explaining to a mom or dad that we couldn't find their child before they died, or an Alzheimer's patient before he or she froze next to a pond, or before a violent escapee has access to a residence and brutally rapes a homeowner.
We've had inquiries and requests for discussion from agencies all over the country, not only because this is such a high-profile case, but because of the complexities associated with the time since we found their bodies a year ago tomorrow. I've had the opportunity to travel to the East Coast and the West Coast with Mike and Becky and the families to continue to perpetuate this message if somebody out there knows who this individual is. None of that's possible without you. It's really, really important that you understand how important and what the importance of the role is that you play. It creates lots of complications when that analysis is done outside of the purview of the experts that I happen to be able to represent there standing behind me today. So I hope you hear me loud and clear. If you're watching this and you're responsible, today may be your day. It might be tomorrow, but I can guarantee you your day's coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen detectives that have given their lives to this case, that have held off and discussed holding off retirement, that have canceled family vacations, that work nights, weekends, and holidays, so that we can explain to you one day and to this incredible community and to our state what happened.
I think you're lying. What is the real reason why you're here?
The floor should be raised for all serious bodily injury and death cases and make it mandatory. So I have instructed our detectives that this is slow and methodical. It needs to be correct, it needs to be right, and we need to be engaged with these communities around Indiana in these 56 counties, and that's what they're doing now. So I look at this from a very optimistic viewpoint and a lens and think this has shed enough light on the process for every single individual. He is, and those questions will be answered in due time, and they certainly should come from the prosecutor, not from me. Right. But eventually when that PC is released, it'll be clear. Well, I think that, remember, I've said from the very beginning, since 2017, a sketch is a sketch, it's not a photograph. That's the first time I've seen that. Really? Yeah. And I've also indicated over time that I think once we get to where we are today, we'll be able to look at the similarities of the two sketches and make a photograph, which will be Richard Allen. So I think there's a little bit of both, and I don't regret the strategy to do what we did. I feel tremendous responsibility. There's multiple steps that we will engage to make us better. I don't anticipate changes because I think the community expects us to not only have those tools, but even to use them when even when we put ourselves in harm's way. When people commit crimes, I think the community would expect and should expect for us to do everything within our power to get them stopped.
Oh, a bullshit artist.
I so appreciate you saying that way, because that is actually what happened afterwards. We started to canvass the city of Delphi and the areas on the same day that the crime occurred. And we stopped cars and asked them, and please tell us if you saw anything suspicious, anything at all. But please remember, this is not unlike any other rural community anywhere in America. It's not a typical a trailhead where there's a great big parking area where people come and go from a central place. It's accessible from multiple areas, multiple places in a very rural area. Yeah. So it does set it apart. It makes it a little bit different. We believe that the sketch that you see behind you was a face-to-face encounter with a citizen of Delphi.
Okay. So you think that actually somebody interacted with him, talked to him, saw him in a store, street, something, somewhere, somehow?
We do. The person we believe to be the killer on the High Bridge has been enhanced as best as it can be enhanced. That's him. What I believe is there's somebody that knows who that person is, even though they can't see their face. I think I could identify a family member if I couldn't see their face based upon the way they were standing, the way his hands are in his pocket, the untucked shirt, the gait, whatever that might be. And that's who we're looking for today.
Mm-hmm. But you're a liar.
Human beings just like you. We cry just like you. We have loved ones just like you. We're viewed as kind of throwaways. You know, that happens. That's what they signed up for. I hear that a lot. That's what they signed up for. But, you know, every single person that, whether it's a police officer or a civilian that dies, it's forever. I hope today had the same value to you that it did to us. It's a pretty special day. I will never be able to reiterate enough, if you ever choose to discredit
what's going to be placed on your collar, I'll expect you to quit.
After all of the employees walked off of their shifts and quit their jobs.
If you have to ask yourself what you're about to do, whether it's right or wrong, it's absolutely wrong. Whether that be the way in which you treat another individual, whether it be the way in which you treat your spouse or your neighbor or your kids or your community. Do not bring discredit to this agency.
If you're being required to do things that make you weak and ashamed, then stop. Don't do them. You're an agent of your own destruction. You should prepare to find another job. And if possible, you should prepare to find a better job.
I will never be able to reiterate enough, if you ever choose to discredit what's going to be placed on your collar, I'll expect you to quit.
And because the evil king is always whittling away at the structure of the state, and you have to be awake and sharp to stop that from happening, so that you don't become corrupt, and so that your family doesn't become corrupt, and so that your state doesn't have to become corrupt. You have to have your eyes open and your wits sharp and your words at the ready, and you have to be educated, and you have to know about your history, and you have to know how to think, and you have to know how to read, and you have to know how to speak, and you have to know how to aim, and you have to be willing to hoist the troubles of the world up on your shoulders.
If you choose to support this bill, you will not be supporting us. You'll not be supporting your frontline officer.
And the answer is each of you. I talked about that relationship. You see, in all of my career, I don't ever remember having the photograph of a person that we believe is responsible. I don't ever remember having the voice of a person that we think is responsible, or having a sketch of the individual that we believe is responsible. So, if all of you closed your eyes for just a moment and you thought of a family member, but you didn't think of them from the neck up, you would know how they stand and the clothes they wore and their posture. You would know that voice. I would know it if it was my father, just like you would know it if it was yours. Somebody out there knows who this person is. And fortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately, fortunately, we have such a relationship with you that you've kept this front and center, because we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. But you guys are. I don't think there's multiple pieces to the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's one piece. And it's having one individual with the strength to say, that was my brother, or that's my dad, or that's my cousin, or that's my neighbor, it's my coworker. That's all we need. And I think we're one piece away. One piece. Yeah, it's another good one. How do you measure progress? How do we know if we're making progress? Tips. I think if we do this mathematically, it's over 30,000 tips. I've heard this guy say to me multiple times, Superintendent, when we're out of tips, we're going to start all over with the ones we got. There's this notion that this is cold. It's not cold. This is not going to be cold. I'm not sure where that comes from. So as those tips continue to come in, we'll continue to work them the very, very best that we can. We'll bring detectives in from all the posts around Indiana that I'm responsible for. And the local law enforcement entities that have resources, we'll bring them all together and we'll go out after the tips that we have. That generally leads to more tips, and then can lead to more tips. So we will continue to manage those tips, and when we're all done, we're going to start all over.
A bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit.
It's a huge component to the ISP. I think it's sustainable now, and I'm very proud of it. We found an Alzheimer's patient in a cornfield 7 minutes after lifting off in Hancock County a couple of months ago.
That makes it worth it.
It was that made all these last nearly 6 years of just real challenging times made it all worthwhile, because somebody loves that woman.
Absolutely,
we got to get her back.
Yeah. Superintendent, one of the other things I think that we're great with, and something that's I believe we're expanding on here, is the laboratory division.
Yeah,
I mean that's leaps and bounds, and with the DNA that's come aboard right now that we're testing with with somebody that's arrested now. Felons arrested. That's really taken off, hasn't it?
The final step for the new laboratories was yesterday, and down in Evansville, we received $30 million to build 2 facilities, one in Lowell, one in Fort Wayne. And the analogy that I always use is when these laboratories were built in the mid-1970s, Richie, they were built with only a pipe dream of DNA. Nobody really knew what DNA was. They thought it was possible eventually.
Right.
But then we morphed into this ability to test DNA on tangible things, cups, glasses, watches, whatever that might be.
Right.
And we had the capacity at that time, space-wise, to do it. Now we do DNA, trace DNA on things the human eye can't see.
Right.
And we're doing it in literally in closets.
I'm coming out of the closet.
Well, I think it. Well, I think it.
Today, Junior?
And to see that picture and all of those people there, those troopers from all over Indiana, it's very humbling to me. And it's just we do it every year. We do it at the same time every day. And it's a briefing about anything that we might be thinking, anything that we might know about.
One day in retirement, but we're
That's
not going
right.
to talk about that,
That's
put
right.
you on the spot
That's
just
right.
yet.
If you've paid attention to anything happening in the Hoosier State in the last couple of weeks, you understand the horrendous things that happened in Delphi, Indiana to Abby and Libby. For those that don't know, what happened, Doug?
They were brutally murdered 2 weeks ago yesterday. We need your help.
How many people have called in to help?
Over 9,000.
How many different police departments are helping?
25.
If you can recognize this audio clip.
Bingo! Oh, bingo.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Yeah. I think that repetitive nature is going to reveal something that's right before us, and we just don't know what it is yet. You know, you're going to get into my soul a little bit with a question like that. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why. I want to tell you why, because of what my eyes have seen and what the eyes of these fellows behind me have seen, that you haven't seen. About 3/4 of a mile from here. Good morning. Morning, sir. Oh, come on. Good morning. Morning, sir. I don't think there was a lot of awareness that this was going to happen today, was there?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, good.
A trooper's life was made for me.
We shine our boots, we shine our bread.
We shine our boots, we shine our bread.
We swear away, we make corrects.
We swear away, we make our wrecks.
84, we tried our best.
84, we tried our best.
But found ourselves in a leaning rest.
But found ourselves in a leaning rest.
Hail, hail, ISP.
Hail, hail, ISP.
King of the road can follow me.
King of the road can follow me.
Nothing in this world is free.
Nothing in this world is free.
A trooper's life was made for me.
A trooper's life was made for me. We like it here, we love it here, we finally found a home.
A what?
A home.
A what?
A home.
A what?
A home away from home.
But it's really for our communities and for those that have been victims or have had family members that are victims of very, very violent crime, to bring conclusions, some closure, convictions of some of the worst criminals.
You must be quite a liar.
It's a gift. Or is there something that we haven't done that we could do? Is there a level of support that I have not given to this sheriff or to Jerry Holeman and the multitude of resources that we have here in Carroll County? What are we missing? You see, we're human beings just like you. And this continues to play in our minds.
Transparency.
But what I will not do is with a singular focus, not release something because it shows bad on us. I will not do that.
We have detectives, officers, and analysts working on these tips and investigating all possible evidence from these tips. All the tips are greatly appreciated. all the tips. We want to encourage people to continue to call in with any information that they may have. I always use the old adage, if you see something, say something. Nothing is going to be considered a dumb tip or a tip that we don't want. Information is our main weapon here. And so any bit of information that someone has, they need to call in and give us. That could be the missing piece that we need to solve this thing. That could be the missing piece that we're waiting on that ties everything together.
Bingo.
I know the family has done everything they can to keep this in front of the media, to encourage people to call in tips, and I'm doing the same thing. I know the family's been fantastic. I appreciate their dedication and their resolve to get this thing solved. But any little tip could be the piece that we need. And so we want to encourage people to keep calling in those tips, keep giving us the information that you have. So I encourage everyone to keep calling in tips, even if you don't have all this information, but in the ideal world, this is the information we would want. This is the information that makes it easiest for investigators to look into that tip and track down on what information they can. I would encourage people not to do side-by-side comparisons on social media, or not to state that they have a tip on social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever that may be. That just muddies the water and hurts the investigation. If you have a side-by-side that you think is legitimate, or you have a tip that you think is legitimate, call it into the tip line. Either call it into the tip line or use the email or website address that we have where you can submit the tip through there. Let investigators work on that tip. Let the professionals take that tip and do what they can with it.
Bullshit artist! I say again, bullshit artist!
Once a person sends a tip over email, you will get an automatic response. Then if an investigator needs to follow up with you, they'll call you or email you back.
Liar!
We want people to know this is not a cold case. This case is not closed. We are not done with this investigation. There are countless people working on this every day.
That's not true. That's a lie.
We're still actively investigating all leads. We're still working on this case. I think about this case every day. I'm confident that we're going to get it solved, and I'm confident that I have a dedication of everybody standing behind me and everybody you don't see here today, that they're going to work and dedicate their lives to this until we get it solved. This is important.
You fucking liar.
He's lying.
So I want to thank everybody for being here again. I appreciate it. There's just not enough I can say for all the work done by investigators and by the family. I don't want to end this without saying thank you to the families. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. One thing we do want to push is we really would rather you use the email address instead of the phone lines. It's easier for us to get the information and to get that out to the investigators and let them go. So please, if you can, use the email address. That's what we prefer the most.
Right, and so I don't know that that's my role to tell the investigators how to investigate the case. I want to be more of a support to them. If we have a resource in my office that you can use, I want to make that available to them. Having said that, I think investigators constantly relook at evidence every day. Is there something I miss? Is there something else I can do? So I think that's constantly going on, but in my opinion, it's not my place to give direction to the investigators on how to run the investigation.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
How are the detectives holding up? How are you holding up? You have taken
The Riddler.
And how this has affected me pales in comparison to how it's affected the family members, this community, and these incredible investigators that have committed, literally, have committed their lives to this. I really appreciate the question, but we can't lose sight of that. But on the other side, I'm inspired by what I see. And I had somebody recently ask me about the word hope, and I have tremendous hope, tremendous hope. Seeing what's happened has been an extraordinary journey for me. Well, first of all, we're not going to comment on what we're evaluating and analyzing, but there's always an analogy to some other situation, which is good. And we can turn that into a very positive, and I appreciate that. We can turn it into a positive because every time that happens, it causes these extraordinary folks that are doing this work to reset. That was asked a little bit ago, and not necessarily a reset of the entire thing, but it causes them to take a step back and think, okay, maybe there's something connected to that 2, 3, and 4 steps away, maybe. So as technology continues to evolve, we certainly hope one day that we can show our complete hand to this. But today's not the day to do that.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Very personally, I take a walk on the trail. Functionally and professionally, I'm confident it's not going to take that long. I think there are a lot of things happening in regards to the way in which we communicate, social media platforms, as human beings, in all that we do each and every day. Somebody knows who this murderer is. Somebody knows. So that rhythm is going to stay strong. It's going to stay strong. What I've heard multiple times over the course of this, when we think we're done, we're going to start all over again. When we think we're done, we're going to start all over again. The FBI and the resources the FBI has brought to Delphi, Indiana have been extraordinary. And the technology and the pieces and parts to maintain a huge, huge case that we've had for now 2 years. So we'll stay diligent and we'll maintain that.
You lie to the grand jurors, you've been lying to me. I'm going to charge you with perjury.
Generally speaking, not helpful, and it hampers the investigation. With the way in which Nick is involved here in this county, the way in which the families of Abby and Libby are involved in this county, that is not helpful. It is not helpful. And as he said, forward us information, but don't do the analogy on your own. Please.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Thank you.
Better known as Nick the Dick.
Nick the what?
The Dick.
Hey! Oh! Oh!
Okay.
Wow! Okay.
For your enjoyment, I bring you a dear, sweet man, Mr. Henry Winkler.
Good evening.
Covered in bees.
Never make it.
You gotta die.
I'll just go to heaven.
Not if you do something bad right before you die.
You're right. Hey, Nicky, cover Winkler in bees. You can do it. Sorry, Henry. Okay, mercy. You win. I give. Game over.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'm confident we're going to solve this case. So I'm confident that if he's listening in or she's listening in or whoever it is, that at some point I'll be sitting across from you in the courtroom. And so about all I can say about it, but I'm confident we're going to resolve this case. I'm confident we're going to get an arrest, and I'm confident we're going to solve it. So.
I'm sorry, I've got to take a stab at that. It's the first thing that my simple brain thinks of in the morning. It's the last thing I think of at night, and I know I represent everybody else that's dressed like me today. If you're watching, we're coming. If you're watching, we are coming. This county of Carroll and all that has happened here and all of the sadness associated with this county is unacceptable in a civilized society. But the flip side of that is look what's happened in this community because of these tragic events. I mean, the unity and the unification and what's actually coming of this and the positivity associated with human interaction is really something to watch. But if you're watching, as Nick said, I hope that I am able to stare him in the eye and ask him why. Because at the end of the day, the two behind me are the ones that matter the most, then the family, then this community.
You sit on a throne of lies.
At this point, we don't comment on anything about the investigation. We're here to focus on Abby and Libby and focus on that, look, this is not a closed case. And again, if someone has a tip for something, call it in. Let us investigate it. And again, this is what makes a good tip, the poster here behind Sergeant Riley. If you don't have all the information, it's okay. Still call in the tip. But I don't want to touch base or I don't want to talk about the specific aspects of the investigation at this time.
Can you talk about why that's so important that you guys keep that information close to us?
The main reason is for the integrity of the case, right? At some point, this case is going to go to trial or come to the courts. And we need to make sure that the integrity of the case is solid. And so that's the main reason. Well, unfortunately, and the fear sound like a broken record, it kind of falls in the same category, and so I'm not going to comment on that at this time. Again, I want to focus on kind of the things that I talked about today and just let everybody know that the dedication to solve this thing is here. It's not only here in my office, but here behind me and everyone supporting this investigation. And so I don't want to comment on that. I want to focus on, the fact that we've gotten tips, we keep getting tips, and we hope to continue to get them until we get this thing solved. So.
He's a liar.
I apologize, but no, we won't discuss anything regarding this active investigation, but we do provide any and all resources we have to support and advance this investigation.
If you ever choose to discredit what's going to be placed on your collar, I'll expect you to quit. If you have to ask yourself what you're about to do, whether it's right or wrong, it's absolutely wrong. Whether that be the way in which you treat another individual, whether it be the way in which you treat your spouse or your neighbor or your kids or your community. Do not bring discredit to this agency.
I fucking hate liars.
Answer the question for me. I wish I could answer it. I wish I could answer it. I've said locally, statewide, and even nationally that sometimes our citizenry doesn't trust us. And I acknowledge that and recognize that we are not without sin. I know that. And I would just like to think that the person that might know about this maybe doesn't trust us and doesn't want to tell us. Maybe they don't think we can protect them. Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. And we've got to work to regain that community's trust. I think that the people that we have talked to at this point in time, we feel confident that there was no involvement. Listen, every single opportunity that we get to throw this out to the front, whether that be in a newspaper in small town southern Indiana whether it be on a national stage. Dr. Phil was 135 countries and I think 20 million people. Absolutely, yes. Again, it resonates with the relationship with all of you. Please understand the importance you play and how important it is that you're here. I didn't know what to expect when we flew in, but I looked down and I saw this line of cars, and I'm so grateful, so very grateful to you.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about? What the fuck was that? I'm sorry, man. I wasn't thinking about it.
Keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. The other investigative step might be a hunch, might be a notion that someone has. It would be great if someone came out and said, yeah, that is this person, first and last name. I know it is. No, the science piece of this I'm going to keep very, very close to the vest. Very close to the vest.
So my last video pissed you off. Well, this one's really going to piss you off.